What is going on, guys? It's Justin from the J Media, back with another video. So today, really exciting stuff. I'll be working on my Honda Civic Si. If you guys watched a few videos back, we did pick up some parts for the car. So what I'm going to be doing is I do need to work on the car in the garage. So I'm going to move out my DC5 RSX out of the garage first, and then reposition the Si right in the middle so I have space to work on the car. Okay, so I'm going to start up the Si and move it right in the middle. If you guys watch my videos, a few videos back, you would have known I just picked up a new exhaust recently for it. So right now, currently the way she sits, there is a full 3-inch Skunk 2 exhaust as well as a Skunk 2 header. So it is pretty loud. If you guys know 8-gen Hondas, 8-gen SIs, I want to say this is almost like one of the loudest setups you can get for exhaust setups. The 3-inch exhaust works great just because like I get, you know, maximum flow, but it's a little bit loud for my liking. So I decided to switch it out to something more tame. I've been speaking to a couple friends who've had, you know, the 8-gen platform, and they recommended I go with the 3-inch full race exhaust. So also 3-inch, but you know, apparently it's a little more tame. Paired with the Skunk 2 header should sound pretty good. So let me go ahead and start it up, move it right in the middle. This is probably going to be the last time you guys hear it, just because I'm going to be lifting the car up, taking out the Skunk 2 exhaust, and slapping on the new full range 3-inch exhaust. Alright, there we go. So we have the Civic Si right smack in the middle. Like I said, being a 2-car garage, having 2 cars in here and being able to work on it, it's pretty tight. I'll be using my jack and jack stands to jack up the car. Before that, I actually want to show you guys the exhaust setup. I have it all back here in the car. So let's go ahead and take out the full race 3-inch exhaust. Alright, so I went ahead and laid out the full race 3-inch exhaust. So starting over here, full race logo, that's the muffler, and then it goes over here, has this little piece to connect them together, all the way over here to the resonator, and then this pipe goes in like that, a test pipe, and then connected by a T-bolt clamp. So it eliminates the cat, so you no longer have your catalytic converter, and then this goes right on to the Skunk 2 alpha header. So yeah, what I'm going to be doing is I'll go ahead and jack up the car first on jack stands, take off the Skunk 2 exhaust, and then throw this one on. Alright, so right now I have the car jacked up on all 4 jack stands. Try to give myself a little bit more space. I also just put the jack back there just in case. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and unbolt the current exhaust setup. I'll go down there and show you guys the current Skunk 2 3-inch exhaust. Alright, so right here you have the Skunk 2 alpha header, you can see right here, and then it meets right here all the way back. This is the exhaust. Like I said, it's a cat delete all the way back here. I'll unbolt those all the way back to the resonator over here, and then all the way back to the muffler setup back here. By the way, the Skunk 2 exhaust will be for sale, so hopefully by the time this video is up, it's sold. But if it hasn't sold yet, you can DM me on my Instagram page to buy the Skunk 2 3-inch exhaust. It says right here, Skunk 2 Mega Power, full 3-inch, all the way back. So before I start, I'm gonna go ahead and spray down some WD-40. Let the oil, the grease kind of soak in with all the bolts. Might be a while since they're taken off, so it might be a little bit you know, dusty, rusty, whatever you want to call it. So let's go ahead and spray it down, let the bolts soak for a little bit. Alright, so I just sprayed down all the bolts and flanges with the WD-40. let it sit for a little while. My first plan of attack would be to take off the skunk 2 muffler. So basically I gotta pry off 1, 2, basically the rubber stuff just holding it in, and then right here, hope you guys can see it, right over here, 2 bolts, and then this should come off. So if you're installing like an axle back exhaust, it's just pretty much a muffler just to here. So yeah, let's go ahead and see what size. I think they're 12mm bolts, but let me just double check. Alright, so apologize, not a 12, it's a 14mm. And pretty much with the grease, WD-40 did help a lot. I thought I had to bust out like the breaker bar or something, but yeah, it came right off pretty easily. So let me go ahead and unbolt the whole thing, and pretty much once you unbolt these two 14mm bolts, it'll be dangling. I just gotta kind of pry it out of those rubber stuff that's holding it in, and we should be able to get the muffler off. So just like that, we have the muffler off. Pretty easy. WD-40 really helped it. Super easy. I didn't even have to use much force to get it off. So yeah, the bolts, I'm just going to put the gasket back. Whoever who is buying it would recommend using new gaskets, but just going to put it back. And let's get to doing the next part. Alright, and got the next part out. This is the resonator, so super easy as well. Gasket's pretty toast, but yeah, always recommend getting new gaskets anyway. So yeah, bolts out, same 14mm, 2 on this side, and then these 2 come off the hangers. Easy peasy. Alright, so the last part of the install of this pipe all the way here to the header. So that is I believe 3 bolts, should be 14mm as well. So let's go ahead and take it off. Alright, so finally got the mid pipe out. So one of the bolt was a little bit of a pain in the ass to get out. I had to use WD-40, I guess it's kind of rusted out. Finally managed to get it off, but here you have it. So I know I say not really the reuse gaskets, but this gasket is pretty good. The full race exhaust I got was used, which did not come with a gasket, so I'm gonna reuse that. But here you have the full Skunk 2 3-inch exhaust. From the muffler over here to the resonator to the mid pipe. And let's do a little comparison. So we have the full race exhaust over here as well as the Skunk 2 exhaust. Both are 3-inch exhausts and both delete the cat, so pretty loud. So starting over here with the full race exhaust, as you can tell, looks pretty nice. And then over here, the main difference is they use kind of like a clamp. Same with over here as well, you use a T-bolt clamp, a little bit different setup, and then the 3 bolts. And if you come over to the other side with the Skunk 2 exhaust, uses this traditional nut and bolt. So nut and bolts here, nut and bolts here, and nut and bolts here. So more nuts and bolts on the Skunk 2 exhaust. Like I said, both are 3-inch exhausts. Both sound pretty good. If you guys like loud, the Skunk 2 exhaust is loud. Sounds pretty good though. It's not like a straight pipe kind of loud. Does sound kind of raw, kind of mean, deep growl. The full race, I haven't heard in person yet. Apparently it's much more toned down even though it's a full 3-inch exhaust. So yeah, pretty excited to step it on. Okay, so over here for the full race setup, like I said, it's a little bit different. Over here, like I said, they are not actually, they're kind of like clamps holding them on. So this one right here by the muffler is a 15mm. And then we also have the T-bolt clamp over here, which goes right here on the test pipe and resonator. This one is a different size. This is a 13mm. So a little bit different setup. What I'll probably do is, I think I'll go ahead and mount the muffler first. Go ahead and lubricate this with some WD-40, mount it on the little rubber coupling, slide it on, and then everything should slide on pretty easily. These T-bolt clamps apparently are a little bit better because you don't have to worry about the gaskets or, you know, just gaskets wearing out over time, your exhaust leaks, stuff like that. So I've never had an exhaust setup like this before, so pretty excited to see how it sounds. And pretty excited to see how the T-bolt clamps work on the exhaust. You know what? Scratch that. Such a dummy. I thought the resonator was over by the midpipe. I'm actually wrong. So upon inspecting it a little closer, so the muffler all the way at the end of the car goes over here. I was wondering how do these two fit on, but that's where the T-bolt clamp is pretty unique. It kind of goes on right like that. And then your resonator goes all the way down. And then this little test pipe fits in here with a 15mm. And then this part just go on your headers, which I have these Skunk 2 headers. So let's pretty much get it on. Like I said, I'll start with the muffler first. Alright, so we have the muffler mounted. Right now it's kind of sagging because it's not actually connected to the rest of the exhaust yet. But the main thing was I wanted to attach it right here to these rubber couplers. So it's in, and then right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the next part, which is attach this resonator up here. Like I said, it has all these little hangers that goes on. So I'm gonna lubricate it with a little bit of WD-40. Again, I'm gonna spray the holes where the rubber couplers are just to make sure, you know, they fit good and slide in easily. Alright, so it's a struggle, but managed to get this thing on this rubber coupler. And then we also have two more over here that I put on. And then I have to connect this T-bolt clamp over here to the muffler. So earlier you guys saw me put in a muffler. So like I said, it's not bolts, it's a T-bolt clamp. So yeah, just gonna get it nice and then tighten it. Before I tighten anything, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure everything lines up first. I'm gonna put on that last test pipe from here all the way to the header, make sure everything lines up before I tighten anything. So for this next part, I'm gonna connect this test pipe. Like I said, there's 3 holes, 3 bolts, and I have to put the gasket in between. And then this piece pretty much goes up here and it connects all the way to the resonator. So right now I have all 3 of these bolts right here and nuts connected to the header. So that's my Skunk 2 alpha header. And then right here the test pipe connected. Again, I haven't tightened anything. I just wanted to make sure everything's good. So the clamp is here. One clamp here from the test pipe to the resonator pipe goes all the way down. And then back there is the muffler. So yeah, I'm just gonna double check, make sure everything looks good before I tighten them down. So we pretty much have the exhaust all in. So right now I just gotta go ahead and tighten everything. So over here, all the way right over here where it meets the header, right there, there's 3 14mm bolts. And then over here, where the test pipe meets, I guess you can say the resonator pipe, that's a 15mm bolt clamp. And then back over there where the resonator meets the muffler, there's a T-bolt clamp, which is 13mm bolt. So it's kind of weird. 13mm bolt with a 15 and 3/14. So let's get to tightening them down. Alright, so got everything tightened. We have this T-bolt clamp over here which connects all the way to the muffler. That's tight. And then make sure all my hangers are still on. And then over here we have this bolt right here, the 15mm clamp. Make sure that's tight, as well as the 3 14mm bolts right there connected to the header. So I think everything's good. Shake it, everything seems pretty solid. Just want to make sure that nothing is touching on anything. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm thinking, should I start up the car first or lower it first? Let me go ahead and lower the car first. Alright, so my FG2 Civic Si is all done. I haven't started up the car yet, so I'm pretty excited for the first startup. I do have to say, if any of you guys want to install the exhaust by yourself, it's super easy. Personally, this is my first exhaust install. I've done some, but with like, how should I put it? It's either custom exhaust being welded by the shop, by an exhaust shop, or I brought it to a shop because, you know, they had a lift. It makes it way easier. But like I say, it's super easy to do. It's just pretty much taking out bolts. Of course, you have to have stuff like your jack stands, but for the most part, pretty easy. I think taking up the Skunk 2 exhaust was a little easier. It was just all bolts. I took it off, I want to say, maybe within like 10-20 minutes. Less than 30 minutes. And then for the full race exhaust, it took me a little bit longer since I had to slip it in and, you know, use those clamps. But I made sure everything is tight. Pretty excited to start it up. I hope you guys are excited as me. So this is cold start. Still sounds loud, but nowhere as loud as the Skunk 2 3-inch exhaust. I think I could rock with this. I mean, still sounds a little bit loud, like I said, because I have the Skunk 2 headers. But all in all, it's pretty good. Sounds more tame. And again, this is cold start, so once it warms up, we'll see how it sounds. Alright, so temps are getting a little warm, so I let it idle for about 5-10 minutes. Much quieter. Much more quieter. So apparently with the full race setup, you can hear it. More induction noise, more intake noise, not so much exhaust noise, but way quieter. Okay, so I'm going to go on a little drive, get some gas. That's really an excuse to pretty much hear how the exhaust sounds. I have to say, after it warms up, I can barely hear any exhaust sound. It's a full 3-inch, so apparently I'm not going to lose power, but it's way quieter. Like full race, versus Skunk 2. Skunk 2 is on the louder end. Full race, even though it's a 3-inch exhaust, is still way quieter. Apparently I hear more intake, more induction noise from the engine bay. Back then with the Skunk 2, you don't really hear much engine noise. It's everything from the exhaust. So let's go on the drive. Apparently it's pretty tame around town, but once you hit like VTEC, high RPM, that's when you hear it come alive. Have to say is way quieter, definitely a different tone to it. I still have to get used to it. Like I said, I want it quieter. I haven't really had the chance to hit VTEC yet at high RPM, so we'll see how it sounds. But definitely driving around town, I don't feel like I'm, you know, disturbing anyone's day. With the Skunk 2 exhaust, I felt like it was so obnoxious driving around town. So hope you guys can hear it. I have the windows up right now. Sounds pretty good. Alright, so now I'm gonna take it on the road where I could get up to speed a little bit, hopefully hit VTEC a couple times just to see how the full race exhaust sounds. I have my windows up, so I'll probably do a couple pulls with windows down too later, but for now we'll do windows up. Second gear. Pretty good, a lot of engine noise. Alright, so windows down. Just made it back home in the Civic Si. I do have to say the full race 3-inch exhaust is way quieter. If I had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, previously with the Skunk 2 exhaust, I really felt, I typically like loud cars, don't get me wrong, but I want to say that it's the loudest exhaust setup I've ever owned on any car. And whenever I start it up, I feel like I'm waking up all my neighbors. Whenever I'm driving, I feel like I'm annoying everyone's day just because it's so loud. I couldn't really drive with windows down. It's just way too loud. If you guys have Skunk 2 exhaust in your cars, you guys will probably know. This is the 76mm Skunk 2 Mega Power RR exhaust, 3-inch, full 3-inch. So yeah, it's loud, no cats. Right now, even though the full race exhaust also has no cats and it's also 3-inch, for some reason it just sounds way quieter, way more refined. Like I said, I had a couple buddies with the full race exhaust setup, and they said even on road trips it's fine. You guys heard a couple pulls I did. So I did, you know, some easy driving, shifting around 3,000-4,000 RPM, as well as some close to red line, you know, high RPM shifting. So it's definitely way more tame. Sounds way quieter, much better for daily driving. So you guys stay to the end. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you want to see when new videos are out, hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and catch you guys in the next one.